35-2 since the beginning of last season. And those two were close as well.
Yeah.
Joining us right now is the head coach of the 18th-ranked San Diego State Aztecs men's basketball team, Brian Dutcher, with us here on Ben and Woods. Dutch, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
What does it feel like to be with the guys after you win that much? Just kind of getting used to it. I mean, obviously you don't want to get complacent, and obviously you guys don't. But what's the message when you get that much success over the period of time that you've had it?
That we're in a good place right now, but there's a lot of work to be done, and I think our guys know that. That's the beauty of having a veteran team. They know we can get better, and we have to get better, and that's the task at hand, continue to get better every day.
Well, Dutch, you guys have definitely done that, and amidst some pretty rough circumstances. I know it's not just San Diego State; it's all schools. It's all it's every program right now is in it. How has it been for you managing all of this? I mean, coaching is hard enough, recruiting is hard enough, and then throwing something like a global pandemic in there as well. How difficult has it been for you to keep your guys focused, motivated, working out, safe, above all?
I just tell them every day to be grateful every day we can be out on this floor, that don't take it for granted. It can be taken away in a minute, and just celebrate every day we can be out here with each other playing basketball and remain flexible. I mean, know that schedules change, things change day to day with this COVID environment, and embrace what we're able to do and don't worry about what we can't.
Coach, we saw Matt Mitchell, I thought, take a big step forward last season. Obviously, he retooled his body, got in a lot of shape, and was a much better player his junior year. Jordan Shackle is now the reigning Mountain West Player of the Week for his 25-point performance against Arizona State last week. What did he do this last year? Because he also seems to be making that step forward for you guys this season.
Yeah, Jordan's always been an extremely hard worker, and he just grows his game. He came here as a tough defender, a good three-point shooter. He grew his three-point shot where no one wants to give him one. And because they're taking the three away, he has to expand his game. And he's shooting the mid-range pull-up. He's attacking off the dribble. And the last step for Jordan is now to be a creator, drive in there for others and kick the ball out. And so Jordan grows his game because he's a hard worker and he puts his time in every day.
We are talking to Aztecs head coach Brian Dutcher here on Ben and Woods this morning. Coach, so we were looking at the schedule, and I know, everything's been different, but we were kind of looking at it and remarking this week how weird it looks when you've got the back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-backs. How does it change for you as a head coach? Do you save some of your cards? Do you save some of your – I hate to use the term save some of your bullets, but do you keep some of your cards close to the vest knowing you're going to have to play these guys back-to-back?
We're working on some zone because I think once teams get comfortable with what you're doing, they have better success. So we have the ability this year more than most to change up defenses. And so I think you might see us play a little more zone as we get to these back-to-back games to have a change of pace to what we're doing. And obviously offensively, everybody knows your set plays. It's playing after the play. It's being connected together, and that's what we're getting better at as we continue to move on, that these guys are getting used to playing with each other, and our greatest strength and improvement will come at the offensive end.
What about the altitude factor in the Mountain West? I know you guys have taken as many steps as you can to combat that in the past, whether it's kind of going in as late as possible before the body has time to adjust. You're not going to have that luxury when you go up to Colorado or some of the other high altitude spots, even New Mexico this season. Is there anything you can do when you have to be stuck there for 3 or 4 days to play 2 games?
Unfortunately, no. And I've seen it firsthand, having been in the conference so long. When we had traveling partners, we used to have to go Utah to BYU. Then we go Colorado State to Wyoming. We go Air Force to New Mexico and be at altitude for 4 or 5 days. And that second game, you sit there and look at your team, and you're not quite performing as well. They're not falling down on the floor, but they might be a half step slow because of the altitude. And that half step can cost you a game. And so I remember too well how hard that was. We'll have more depth, but depth doesn't negate the altitude effect. We'll be able to run guys in and out of there quicker and maybe negate it to a small amount, but altitude's going to be a factor this year like it hasn't been for a long time.
When you look at the Mountain West Conference overall, I remember back in those days before, obviously, Utah left for the Pac-12 and TCU came and then left. BYU obviously went to the WCC. UNLV used to be a powerhouse. New Mexico used to be a top team in the nation, and those are still good teams. Utah State's still a good team, but it's not quite the same conference that it used to be. As you kind of look forward, Dutch, what do you think the future is here in the Mountain West? Can these teams kind of get back and make it a kind of a top conference that was pushing those power conferences again, or has that ship sailed and that's going to be tough to do now in the future?
No, I don't think so. Basketball is a sport where if you can add just one or two pieces, you can drastically change your team. And I think Vegas has got so much tradition, history, that I think they'll be back. TJ's done a good job. New Mexico with the Pit, if they can just get the right combination of players, Paul's done a good job, and that environment's crazy. Obviously, Boise's very good this year, and I think underrated. They lost to a very good Houston team, but have since won at BYU and have a very good team. Colorado State, I think, is good. Nobody knows yet because they've been on pause for so long. So I think the balance shifts from time to time. The only thing I like is that San Diego State's near the top and wants to stay there. That's the only thing we can control is our own destiny. And so we have to continue to bring the right kind of kids in here to build it the right way to maintain the success we've enjoyed.
Well, Coach, and no one can deny, what happened earlier in the year it would change the entire world. But in your world, San Diego State basketball, obviously it stunk, and it stunk for those kids. And, some of those kids have gone on to the NBA. You see them highlight, their highlights on SportsCenter.
Yeah, I saw that Malachi Flynn three-pointer from the next county
right?
for the Raptors.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
It was so cool. And the big steal as well, and that's got to feel good for you. But the kids that were, that are still there, knowing what was in front of you guys potentially, how have they? Obviously, they've responded well on the court, but do they even bring up what happened? Like, oh man, we're just still so bummed, or is it turn the page and on to the next one?
I think it probably lingers in their mind. We don't talk about it. We don't verbally discuss it, but I think that's in the back of their mind. But I've got mature kids. Jordan, Matt, 4-year guys. They've had a lot of success. Seiko, 3 years. As a player, 4 years in the program, Mensa and Rope in their third year. So I've got guys that have been a part of those teams. And so I think they just want to continue to get better every day. They know last year can't happen again because 3 of those pieces are gone, but we can be very good again this year with a different cast, and they're working hard to try to do that.
Coach, I know you guys are ranked 18th now, and you earned that ranking, if not something a little bit higher, with wins over UCLA and Arizona State and a good Pepperdine team and a UC Irvine team. And you guys have proven it. You seem to have to prove it every single year. And I know you don't really care much about the rankings. You got another game to take care of. You got BYU tomorrow, and you're not going to think about what other people think about you. At the same time, other schools they kind of assume every year, they're going to be good in the top 25. What's it going to take for the Aztecs to earn that level of year in, year out respect? Because I feel like you should already have it, and I'm not sure why people sometimes refuse to give it to you at this point.
I think we've got it out in the West, but I don't think the people in the Midwest or East really know how good we've been over the years. They don't stay up and watch the games when they're airing late at night, and when they talk about the West, it's Gonzaga's the fixture every year. And then they like the power conferences. That's just the nature of it. That the power conferences get more primetime TV slots and get promoted higher amongst the media, and so sometimes that's tough to overcome. So the only thing we can control is our performance, and we play with that chip on our shoulder. We come to work every day, and we try to carve out our niche in the basketball world.
Coach, I saw that with the first UNLV game being moved back a couple of days, you now have a bit of a gap between the St. Mary's game next week and your conference opener against UNLV. There was some speculation that you might try to add a game in that window. Any update on that? Any progress on what you might do there?
Well, I'm burning the phones up. I've been texting with few. They're full up. I talked to Coach Drew from Baylor. They don't have any availability. I've reached out to
in
USC.
The country,
Yeah, USC and Stanford, and nothing right now, but we're trying. And because of the pandemic, guys get games canceled. And so that's not to say we can't find one. We just haven't found one yet.
Yeah, you know why? Because, they see Brian Dutcher on their cell phone, and they say, do you want a game? And they look at your team, and they go, no, thank you. I don't really want to play your team.
You can only mess it up for us at this point.
I've seen your team,
Well,
Coach, and we don't want to play you.
I wish they'd look and say, hey, it's a great opportunity against a ranked team to build our resume.
Exactly.
I'm looking for that team with enough confidence they'll come here and play us.
I hope so. I love to hear it, Coach. Good luck tomorrow against BYU. Afternoon start. Keep that map alive. I know fans love the map, and keep that undefeated season going, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me, guys.